All right, y'all. We back. Shoot news and reviews. You know how we do.
Yes, we're here again, and we have to talk about Michael K. Williams, great
Man.
actor. A lot
R.I.P.
of y'all
Man.
know him from The Wire. He had a great show on Vice as well, where he was taking a closer look at the black market and things of
Mm-hmm.
that sort. I really enjoyed the episode where he was talking about entertainers, musicians faking streams and everything like that, all
Oh yeah,
around
I
good
remember
guy.
we seen that. Do you think he the great? Do you think he we got to put him in? One of the greats as far as his
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm okay with
You
that.
go
Calling
ahead and
him one
say
of the
that.
great. He
Okay.
had a lot of range. He played a lot of different characters,
Yeah.
and you don't see that a lot. He could play a tough dude. He could play a gay dude. He could play a square dude, and it was very convincing. All of those roles, but that's not why we're here today. I want to read this article from NPR, a great source. It just came out 4:17 a.m. And let's get into the drug dealer that pled guilty in the death of Michael K. Williams. The man accused of dealing drugs that led to the overdose and death of the late actor Michael K. Williams pleaded guilty to the charges against him Wednesday, according to court documents. Irvin Cartagena, 39, pleaded guilty to one count of narcotics conspiracy resulting in death, mind you, for allegedly selling drugs from August 2020 to January 2022. Records with the New York Southern District Court show. According to the New York police, Cartagena was a member of a drug trafficking organization that frequented South 3rd Street in Brooklyn and often sold heroin laced with fentanyl, which Williams, 54, had taken prior to his death.
Mm.
Pay attention. This wasn't his first time going there. Surveillance, video, and license plate reader records show Williams driving to South 3rd Street and performing a hand-to-hand exchange with Cartagena the day before his death, the police said. Let's move on. No, I'm good. I'm good, bro. A New York police detective said on several occasions an undercover police officer bought drugs from Cartagena on South 3rd Street, and the product packaging displayed various logos, including Gatorade, IKEA, and AAA Insurance. According to the complaint, when Williams was found unresponsive in his apartment in September 2021, police also found a paper bag or glassine with the AAA logo. NYPD lab testing detected heroin, fentanyl, cocaine, lidocaine, and caffeine in the narcotics. Oof.
Man, they putting all that in there, boy. They ain't
Oh,
playing. So
imagine your ass gonna be up. You got all
yeah,
of that going
man.
on.
Probably bust his heart.
Despite knowing that Williams died after buying the DTO's product, the DTO has continued to sell fentanyl laced heroin in broad daylight amidst residential apartment buildings, the complaint says. So one monkey don't stop no show. They apparently knew that Michael K. Williams died and kept the trap open. Williams raised in East Flatbush section of Brooklyn. That's where my people from in Brooklyn. That's where I was at. Was best known for his role as Omar Little on The Wire, HBO's hit series in the 2000s that depicted the underworld of drugs and crime in Baltimore. That's why we're following this story. Usually we use entertainers and stuff like that. We follow like entertainment, hip hop news, but hip hop culture is crime culture, folks. I don't know if you guys realize that, but that's a fact. Williams later appeared in the series Boardwalk Empire, The Night of, and Lovecraft Country. Lovecraft Country might have been one of my favorite roles for him, as well. Over his career, he earned 5 Emmy nominations. Williams was open about his personal struggles with drug addiction. So he was on Front Street letting people know that he had a problem with drugs and everything like that. Now this guy pled guilty and he got a whole case. How does this make you feel, Bob? Does Michael K. Williams, does he have to take accountability for this? I know he's not here anymore, but is any of this his responsibility? I mean, how much of this is the drug dealer's fault?
Right. I mean, it's hard for me to put it on the drug dealer or Michael K. Williams. We got to put it on how did this stuff start and get into the community? So it's a lot of fault to be blamed. Yeah, we got to put a little bit of the blame on Michael K. Williams, but he was going through a struggle. He needed help. This stuff got here before he was here. So, he could have been influenced as a child. We don't know what he went through to get to those struggles that he had to go through. Now, the
Right,
drug
right.
dealer, you know, they said they had a war on drugs for a long time, but it's like, obviously it's making, everybody money, not just the drug dealer. It seems like the state's benefiting.
I'll
So
piggyback on what you said about the war on drugs. As far as that's concerned, drugs are winning the war on drugs. Drugs are winning the war on drugs. Drugs are winning the war on drugs. That's we know that. And when it comes to the war on drugs, it's hurting people. They're labeling people who do drugs as criminals. Of course, in this article, we gotta there's no fault on Michael K. Williams because he's no longer a threat anymore. But if he was a black man walking around, they would have villainized him as well. When really he's somebody who's struggling with a problem. And let's not act like the cops don't aggressively target black and Latino people when it comes to dealing drugs. If this was a white guy in the suburbs, would this even be a thing? I don't know. But it's clear to me that we got a two-tier justice system in this country. So it seems like that was a low-hanging fruit. Like you said, they're not worried about how the drugs are coming into this country or how everything is becoming laced with fentanyl. They want to go to the street level dealer, and getting him off the streets does nothing. They already said that the same day that Michael K. Williams died, they were still out there selling. You think that they're going to clean up the streets by putting this guy in jail? I don't think so at all.
At some point, this is what people want. People gonna be able to get what they want. It's not you're gonna have to do something beyond that. You did that with the Cuban cigars. You did that with certain things that you didn't let come into the country. If this gonna be here, I think it's I'm not a big conspiracy theory, but I kind of think it benefits the system. You know what I mean?
Yeah, this benefits the system, and honestly, we could stand to save a lot of money if we wasn't
Putting
doing
it
all
into
of this stuff with
arresting people.
drugs. Like,
Yeah.
this shit is taking up money that we could be using for way more important things. I'll read an abstract here from www.ojp.gov. Government at all levels spends about $100 billion a year on law enforcement and criminal justice programs to combat the drug problem, and about $35 billion is directly related to drug law enforcement. About $50 billion a year could be saved if drugs were legalized, and this figure could go as high as $150 billion in a year if one considers the resources spent on ineffective drug suppression activities. I feel like this is a ineffective drug suppression activity. You locking up this man after the fact, and it ain't going to bring Michael K. Williams back. It ain't going to solve the drug problem on the street.
He didn't kill him. Michael K. Williams wanted that, So
Yeah,
he's just a supplier,
Furthermore, I feel like drugs should be legal. Like, if you want to do something to yourself, you should be able to do that. If you don't have the freedom to make incorrect decisions, then you don't have freedom at all. And especially if the decision ain't hurting nobody but you. If I decide I want to run into a brick wall tomorrow, it shouldn't be nobody that is stopping me out here. I believe in regulations
Well,
to
yeah,
an
we're
extent and
gonna say
stuff
don't
like that.
hurt yourself. I'm
You
not
can
knocking
suggest that,
somebody.
but can you
Yeah.
legally stop me from doing that?
No. We can't legally stop you from
Do you
he
want to live
still
in a
did it.
world where you can't do that? I'm not saying that you want to do that, but damn, are we in a free country or not?
Right. Yeah.
And I know that I might sound crazy to some people when I'm talking about and when I say drugs should be legal, I ain't talking about weed. I'm talking about crack,
You talking about the
heroin,
hardcore shit, fentanyl.
hardcore drug. They should all be legalized. There's countries that have done it and they're better off than before they did it. I'll bring up another point. In Oregon, Oregonians overwhelmingly passed a measure called 110. It's measure 110, excuse me, that makes possession of small amounts of cocaine, heroin, LSD, and methamphetamine, among other drugs, punishable by a civil citation akin to a parking ticket and $100 fine. And that fee can get waived if you get a health screening from a recovery hotline. So what I'm saying to you is, we're seeing that this stuff is being rolled out in another country, in another state, and the world didn't blow up.
Yeah.
People could then be more open to getting treatment, finding alternative solutions to this problem other than locking people up and ripping
Yeah.
apart lives and shit like that. And,
I
and, I,
agree.
and,
I
I, and,
agree.
and the guy was selling drugs later that day. What people don't talk about with this fentanyl thing is it works a lot of the time. I know that some people die, but were people not having overdoses when coke didn't have fentanyl in it? When crack didn't have fentanyl in it? When heroin didn't have fentanyl in it? There were still overdoses. So
Yeah.
overdoses weren't going to stop because fentanyl is now laced in the products. And if the products were just killing everybody, how are they still getting sold so quickly? We have to look at this in a more nuanced way, because I think that it's a lot of that fear mongering going on. The same way they did with weed when it first came out, and they tried, you could watch that reefer mania type of old uh,
Yeah.
propaganda shit they used to put on to try to scare people away from weed, and now we're saying that it's medicine. So I feel like we got to catch up and get with the times and be a little bit more progressive when it comes to how we're looking at drugs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. 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 I agree,
So,
man.
as far as the fate of this guy, they didn't include it in the NPR article, but Cartagena, 39, of Brooklyn, New York, he pled guilty to one count of conspiracy to distribute and possess with intent to distribute fentanyl, analog fentanyl, and heroin, which carries a mandatory minimum sentence of 5 years in prison and a maximum sentence of 40 years in prison. And as part of his guilty plea, Cartagena stipulated that the substance he conspired to distribute and possess with the intent to distribute resulted in the death of Michael K. Williams. The statutory minimum and maximum penalties are prescribed by Congress and are provided here for informational purposes only, as any sentencing of the defendant will be determined by the judge. I really don't feel like he's going to get those minimums, being that he's pleading out. If he would have took it to trial, they would have tried to max cuz ass out. But being that he's taking a plea deal, he's probably going to get something much lighter than that. Hopefully, the young man could get some quick probation or something like that. I send my support out for Mr. Cartagena. I'm sad about Michael K. Williams, but my support is going out for Mr. Cartagena. Maybe my past is why I'm a little bit biased, but I really feel like I'm being objective. I'm looking at the facts, and I don't think this is a good thing. This is a miscarriage of justice, in the words of Tory Lane's father.
Yeah, yeah, I can say it's miscarriage of justice, but we do got to teach our youth that we got to look into other ways to make money, because yeah, you don't want to get bammed out here trying to make some money when you can make money in a safer way. So you got to use this as an example. We're not for him getting bammed, but this is reality. So don't
Yeah,
act
I
like
never.
it's an elephant in the room and you're not seeing it. The point of this is not a good career to be jumping into if you're not willing to do 20 to 30. And making money trying to have to do 20 to 30 or something crazy is just it's not worth it, man. So
I mean, look, I'm not here advocating anybody get into that, but like I said, I morally don't feel like there's anything wrong with it, the selling or the
me
doing.
neither.
That's
I
a
do. I feel,
personal
but I don't
choice.
want you.
I
I
don't.
don't
Yeah,
want
but
nobody to get
let me just finish.
jealous.
I heard you out. You're saying that the youth shouldn't do that because you could get time. That's fair. I'm just saying morally, I don't think anything was done wrong, and we need to do better as a country. Now, it ain't the best career choice. I could agree with you on that. I'm not advocating for anybody to go out and choose that as a career path, but our country is failing us on that
Yeah.
front. You know,
Yeah.
from where I'm sitting. But y'all chime in, man. Y'all let us
Let
know
us
how
know what
y'all
y'all
feel.
think,
Maybe I'm
man.
tweaking. You know, do
Yeah.
y'all feel like justice was served? We need to get these scumbags off the street, you know, guys doing that kind of stuff. Or do you see it my way? Let us know in the comments. I'm expecting some opinions on this. Or maybe, do people even care about this? Is this a big story, Bob? You think? It hit close home to
We'll
me.
see. It hit close home to me too, man. I mean, somebody passed. I had family members that was on drugs, so they got off. So
Yeah.
it's big out here, man. It's people,
And
that's
you
getting
know,
affected.
we've gotten, I ain't gonna put your business out there, you know what I'm saying? I'm just speaking on me. I've gotten in trouble for similar things like the gentleman Cartagena
Yeah,
has in the
yeah. We
past. And
both have. Yeah.
yeah, I feel like the courts is a real heavy-handed with that kind of shit.
Yeah.
So we need to, there's actually political movements against that too, you know, or
Yeah.
I want to say, I would say for the legalization of substances and stuff and the decriminalization of these substances. I would recommend anybody to get involved politically with this, because we could end up like Oregon. You
Yeah.
know,
Could
they
be a political
legalize
thing.
small amounts of hard drugs, and it seems like it's working out pretty good for them. And I advocate for treatment, man. Treatment over locking people up for things like this.
Gotcha. Hey, listen, man. We're gonna catch y'all in the next video. Peace.